The NFL world is burning to the ground right now because of a secret meeting in the desert that changes everything we thought we knew about the trade market. If you think the rumors about A.J. Brown leaving the Philadelphia Eagles were just smoke, you are dead wrong. It turns out the person feeding us those rumors was caught in a compromising position with a very close to Is this the biggest betrayal in sports media history? Or just a massive masterclass in manipulation that's about to blow up the Eagles' locker room? This isn't just a gossip story. This is a direct threat to the Philadelphia Eagles' roster stability and a total disaster for journalistic integrity. Before we dive into this absolute disaster, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. The league is losing its mind over a series of exclusive photos that just went public. And let me tell you, this is a total masterclass in how to ruin a reputation in 48 hours. We're talking about Dianna Russini, one of the top NFL insiders at The Athletic, and Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the New England Patriots. These two were spotted at a high-end, adults-only resort in Sedona, Arizona, called Ambient. Now, why does this matter to you as a football fan? Because for months, Russini has been the primary source telling the world that A.J. Brown is unhappy in Philly and that a trade to the Patriots is inevitable. But wait until you see what the photos actually show, because it changes the entire context of those reports and suggests a bias that could dismantle the Eagles' wide receiver core. Could this secret meeting be the real reason the A.J. Brown trade rumors won't die? Drop a comment below and tell me if you think this is a conflict of interest or just two friends hanging out. The evidence here is staggering. We aren't just talking about a casual business lunch or a quick interview in a lobby. The photos, released by Page 6 and the New York Post, show Russini and Vrabel poolside, in a hot tub, and most shockingly, on a private rooftop with their fingers interlocked. They were seen embracing in a way that looks a lot more like a romantic getaway than a source and reporter meeting. We're talking about a resort where suites cost upwards of $2,000 a night. Hardly the place for a standard insider scoop. Now look, everyone is entitled to a personal life, but we have to talk about the professional fallout. Both of these individuals are married to other people. But beyond the personal drama, the journalistic integrity here is circling the drain. How can we trust a reporter who is canoodling? And yes, that is the word the insiders are using. With a head coach of a team, she is constantly linking to star players. If you study journalism, the first thing they teach you is that you have to be an unbiased voice for the community. You cannot become the story. When a senior analyst for a major outlet like The Athletic is seen in a romantic setting with a primary source, it creates a massive conflict of interest. It makes every single report she has ever put out about Mike Vrabel or his teams look like a plant. Was she reporting on A.J. Brown because it was news? Or was she doing a favor for a close friend who desperately wants that player on his roster? This is a mess of epic proportions that calls into question every exclusive we've seen this offseason. But the plot thickens even more when you look at how they try to cover it up. Both Russini and Vrabel have denied the allegations, claiming the photos don't provide the full context. They say they were there with a group of friends. But here is the kicker. In every single photo taken at that resort, whether they were by the pool or looking at the beautiful Arizona red rocks, not a single friend was in sight. It was just the two of them alone in a resort that is specifically designed for couples and privacy. The math just isn't adding up, and Eagles fans are starting to realize they might have been played by a narrative designed to lower A.J. Brown's value or force a trade. Think about the history here. Mike Vrabel was the head coach in Tennessee when A.J. Brown was drafted. They have a deep, long-standing connection. When the Eagles pulled off that shocker of a trade on draft night to bring A.J. to Philly, who was the first person to break the news? Dianna Russini. It seems like every time A.J. Brown's name comes up in a headline, Russini and Vrabel are somewhere in the shadows. If Vrabel is using his relationship with a top insider to stir up trade buzz and make A.J. Brown feel unsettled in Philadelphia, that is a level of manipulation we rarely see in the NFL. But wait until you hear about Russini's past reports, because they might be more accurate than we want to admit. Now, to be fair, Russini is a grinder. She works her tail off at the Combine and the Super Bowl, and she does get big scoops right. Just last week, she reported that the Rams were interested in A.J. Brown, and everyone called her a liar. Then, the Rams actually confirmed they were looking into it. Even Adam Schefter admitted the Rams trade was closer than people thought. So she has the info, but the how is what's terrifying. If she's getting her info through these kinds of private meetings, can we ever trust the narrative again? It feels like the lines between reporting the news and creating the news have been completely blurred. The Eagles are caught in the middle of a soap opera they didn't ask for. Howie Roseman has been adamant that he doesn't want to subtract great players. But when an insider with this much reach keeps hammering the trade drum, it creates friction. Mike Vrabel was asked point-blank about the A.J. Brown interest at the league meetings, and he didn't say no. He basically said he's always looking to improve the team. Of course he is. He's likely been whispering in the ear of the most influential reporter in the game to help make it happen. This is a high-stakes game of chess, and right now, the integrity of NFL reporting is the pawn being sacrificed. What does the future hold for the Eagles' locker room now that this is out in the open? Does Jalen Hurts look at these rumors differently, knowing the source might be biased? The Athletic is currently standing by their reporter, saying the context is missing, but the public isn't buying it. When you see fingers interlocked and sunset hugs, business trip isn't the first thing that comes to mind. It's a bad look for the Patriots, a bad look for the media, and a disaster for the Eagles' peace of mind. And it's not just this one incident. There's a history of Rossini being linked to the people she covers. Remember the rumors back in the day with the Washington Redskins, or the whispers involving David Wright of the Mets. While those remained allegations, this Arizona trip has photographic proof. When you combine a pattern of behavior with a current trade saga that could change the power balance of the NFC East, you have a recipe for a total meltdown. The drama is only getting started, and the fallout from these photos could determine where A.J. Brown plays for the rest of his career. If the NFL decides to look into this as a violation of league tampering rules, or if the media outlets decide the conflict of interest is too high, we could see some massive heads roll. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm furious. Our star receiver is being dangled as trade bait in the middle of a desert vacation. But wait until you hear what the players are starting to say behind the scenes about this distraction. Because it turns out A.J. Brown might have some thoughts of his own on these insider reports. The reality is that the Eagles are trying to build a championship roster, and these distractions are the last thing they need. A.J. Brown is a cornerstone of this offense. Taking him away would be a catastrophic blow to Jalen Hurts' development and the team's Super Bowl aspirations. Yet, the narrative persists, fueled by a relationship that seems way too close for comfort. Is it possible that the trade rumors were never about the Eagles wanting to move on, but about Vrabel wanting to move in? If you look at the Patriots side of things, they're desperate for a true number one receiver. Drake may need a target, and there is no one better than A.J. Brown. If Vrabel can use his media connections to make it seem like Brown is unhappy, he wins. If he can make the Eagles' front office feel like the relationship is fractured, he wins. It's a brilliant, if unethical, strategy. But now that the photos are out, the secret is up. The canoodle in Sedona has exposed the machinery behind the rumors. So where do we go from here? The Athletic is facing a crisis of confidence. Mike Vrabel is facing questions about his professionalism. And the Philadelphia Eagles are left holding the bag, trying to convince their superstar that the reports of his departure were nothing more than a desert mirage created by a coach and a reporter who got a little too close. This is the kind of story that defines an offseason, and we are right in the thick of it. Keep your eyes peeled, because as the draft approaches, the pressure is only going to ramp up. Will Howie Roseman stay strong and keep AJ in midnight green, or will the noise become too loud to ignore? One thing is for sure. Next time you see a breaking news report from an insider, you're going to be looking a lot closer at who they're hanging out with in their off time. The NFL is a business, but sometimes it looks a lot more like a reality TV show. Stay tuned, because the next chapter of the Sedona scandal is about to drop, and it's going to be even more explosive than the last. We've seen trade rumors before, but never anything that felt this personal. The interlocking fingers, the shared breakfast, the private rooftop bungalow, it all paints a picture of a relationship that goes far beyond working a source. For the fans in Philadelphia, this is a betrayal of the highest order. We rely on these insiders to give us the truth, not a curated version of the truth that benefits their friends. If the A.J. Brown trade actually happens, there will always be a massive asterisk next to it. People will always wonder if it was a football move or a friendship move. And let's talk about the Patriots for a second. If they land A.J. Brown, they become immediate contenders in the AFC East. But at what cost? The reputation of their head coach is already taking a hit before he even coaches his first full season in New England. It's a high-octane gamble that could backfire if the locker room loses respect for the man at the top. The NFL is a small world, and players talk. You can bet that every guy in that Eagles locker room has seen these photos. They know what's going on. And you can bet A.J. Brown. In the end, this might be the wake-up call to NFL media.
It really dictates the defense.
Insider culture has gotten so big and so powerful that it was only a matter of time before a scandal like this broke. The Sedona trip wasn't just a vacation. It was a symptom of a league where the lines are constantly blurred. Whether A.J. Brown stays or goes, the way we consume NFL news has changed forever. No more blind trust. No more taking reports at face value. From now on, we're looking for the interlocking fingers in every headline. The Eagles have a choice to make. They can let the noise tear them apart, or they can circle the wagons and prove that no amount of media manipulation can break their bond. But with the draft just weeks away and the Patriots looming like a shadow, the tension in Philly is at an all-time high. This is the high-stakes world of the NFL, where a trip to the desert can start a fire that burns down an entire franchise. Grab your popcorn, Eagles fans, because this ride is far from over. We'll be watching every move Howie Roseman makes, every tweet Rossini sends, every comment Vrabel drops, because now we know the truth, or at least we know enough to know we're being lied to. The A.J. Brown saga is the biggest story in football, and it's not because of what's happening on the field. It's because of what happened on a rooftop in Arizona. And that, my friends, is why the NFL is the greatest show on earth. Even when the games aren't being played, the drama never stops. Stay locked in, stay skeptical, and most importantly, stay tuned. The next update on the A.J. Brown trade could come at any second, and you can bet it'll be a wild one. This is original reporting, this is the raw truth, and this is the high-energy coverage you won't get anywhere else. The Eagles' future is on the line, and we are here for every single second of it.